let's get right into this week's trial. So we are listening to, Monday starts out with Adrien Bean once again doing his thing that he does. He's back to being a much more mild-mannered, calm person that doesn't remember anything again. And then from there on, we really don't get many answers from Adrien Bean at all. Of course, I guess he had the weekend to think about, I lost my job. Maybe I'm about to crash out, or maybe I'm just going to try to reserve myself so that I can get back into work. Or I don't know what what prep talk he gave himself or what pep talk somebody else gave him, but he came back to the court calm. But one thing that he did come back, he came back very high. He came back very, very, very high. And he also actually said it on the stand. He said, I guess they were about to take a recess, or it was some type of break happening. And he said, "Can I get a bottle of water? I'm high." What do you say? "I'm high as hell. I'm high as, what do you say? Let me get the right, because he pretty much said, "I'm high as hell up here. I'm high as hell." He pretty much told them, "I'm about to fall asleep on you." Right? He told them, "I'm about to fall asleep on y'all. I'm high." You know what I'm saying? So when you, and this is why this is sad to me, because you as a 42, 43-year-old black man, and you got yourself together. Like, that's what they told us. That's what he told us. He got himself together. He put all the criminal stuff behind him. He's been working for the last few years. He got off of drugs, all that. You got yourself together. And now this old case comes back up. Now you lose your job because of your testimony, or because of what your job found out during your testimony. And then you just pretty much fall back down a dark hole. You understand what I'm saying? And as black men and black women that's watching and all that, as we age, we want to try to make sure we never fall back down some of them dark holes that we was in before. But we just watched Adrien Bean's life fall apart on the stand. Really. He even said last week, y'all up here trying to assassinate me. That was his whole angle behind, am I on trial? Because it for sure seems like the last 3 weeks have been about attacking him and not proving that that YSL did that incident on September 11, 2013. They haven't even asked many questions about YSL. There's been a few questions about YSL, but not many. The last month of trial, because they've been talking to witnesses. I mean, they've been talking to people who were other victims that day. They've been talking to police. They've been talking to all different type of people, and they just started bringing up YSL like this week. So it seems very odd to me that Adrien Bean got this type of beatdown by both sides. I don't understand it. It's sad to me, but like I said last week, when you play around in them streets, that stuff does not leave you. It don't leave. You might feel like, oh, I'm done with it. And this is also true for Young Thug. Thug thought he was done with it too. The thing about when you really was in the streets, it's never done. Let me read some of these comments. The state recognized that the lyrics ain't working, and the expert got exposed. Yep. And all the cases so far, Thug hasn't been charged in anything. That's true. They are talking about a bunch of stuff that Thug. First of all, this is the other time Thug was involved was a traffic stop. This is the first actual crime, like criminal crime, that Thug's name is even mentioned in. Out of all the last 4 months of trial, they've been talking about a bunch of stuff like minor weed offenses and little petty thefts and stuff like that Thug wasn't even around for. He was nowhere near these incidents. And this trial has been about, mostly up until this point, most of the people they even been discussing aren't even on the case at all. They're not any of the 6 defendants in the trial. So that's currently in this trial. They have been some people that have taken deals and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the things that they've been actually discussing up until this point really haven't even been anything. I don't know. This is really egregious. Let me read this next one from Hippie Easter. Everyone should think about what they put out there. That's facts. What does it say? Red, what? I can't see that far in, but refried bean, for sure. Bean was for sure refried as he was up there spilling the beans. Because, this is the thing about snitching, right? Don't tell everything back in the day. First, don't tell everything and then try to come now in court and act like you solid or like it's never nothing solid about none of that. And I have opinions and everything about this whole trial, personal opinions about what I'm seeing that I would never say on here because it'll be disrespectful to these people that's up there testifying. And I don't want to do that. I don't want anybody, because I'm in the city, and I'm in the city, so I don't want nobody thinking they could just come approach me and ask me nothing. Oh, you said this about my cousin, or I see one of these people that testify somewhere, and they think they could. And I don't want to have to make no examples out of nobody. You understand? So it might not be popular, but I feel sorry for Bean. I feel sorry for him too, honestly. He said, do they need to actually wait for an appeal to take up all the biased information? We're going to see. They did Bean dirty, but he can't play both sides. That's facts. You definitely can't. We talking about a 2-hour interrogation where my man gave up. He gave up so much information that they wasn't asking. 2 hours of it. You can't come on the stand and act like you don't know nothing. You should have not known anything in the interrogation room, my G. They recorded everything you said to them. So far, RICO has not been proven, in my opinion. I agree. RICO has not been proven. And that's why Brian Steele has this continued motion to declare this thing a mistrial. And I agree with him. You got to keep on pushing that mistrial thing, because there's a lot of foolishness going on in this case. Every time Brian Steele does something like a tiny bit other than what the judge says, the judge flips. And we're going to get into that because Brian Steele went the hell off. And then every time the state does something that they shouldn't have done, they get a little bit of, most of the time, some of the stuff the state is doing is mistrial worthy. Leaving out evidence and doing all type of crazy stuff, or the judge making a court ruling saying you need to turn over this evidence by this date, and the state straight up just not doing it. Just, I don't know if they want to call it ignoring the court's orders or whatever. Let's see. The state has the cheddar bob themselves because they keep moving their own goalposts. Now they are in the weeds. That's facts. All right, so let's get back into this breakdown here. So Adrien Bean is pretty much just done, and I was glad to see them finally let that man lead a stand, and he was done for good. They say, we are permanently discharging this witness. Don't discuss his testimony with anybody. And I'm gonna tell y'all, they told him don't discuss his testimony with anybody. But if Adrien Bean hit me up and say he wanna talk about this on a podcast somewhere, I'm gonna have him on. Adrien Bean, my G, come talk to me. I don't, that position that you've been put in. Let's come to the good side where we just report the news and we don't slander anybody. Come to the good side and give your real story. But don't perjure yourself. Don't say nothing that's going to get you put in jail, though. Don't do that. So Nichols' lawyer motions for a severance. Okay, I don't know if y'all seen that, because he's saying that the prosecution is pretty much prosecutorial misconduct, and he felt like the counsels were trading insults, and they were. We talked about that last week. They were trading insults. It's like, we're going to get, us as other attorneys in this case on other defendants, we're getting caught up in the crossfire of all this foolishness because of what Love and Steele have going on with each other. And he's pretty much like, that's not fair to my client. And of course, the prosecutors, they fought against that. They was like, nah, to me, I think that this is terrible because y'all really want to put all of these people in this massive RICO case just to, what are y'all trying to make yourself like superstar lawyers or something? Y'all know for a fact that most of these people were not involved in the vast majority of these crimes. Most of these crimes have already been prosecuted. You see what I'm saying? They just took a bunch of old crimes and said, hey, the old crimes that they already convicted people of also. Hey, these people are connected to Young Thug by 6 degrees of separation. Let's try to come with this big thing and put them all back in this. So y'all are really stretching the bounds of what I think an ethical trial should be. The fact that they have charges in here that have already been convicted and people have already been punished of, but because you're now doing it under the RICO Act, now you can get around this double jeopardy thing, I think is absolutely sick. Y'all let me know if y'all think it's sick. I think it's sick. And that, like I said, I've never been biased for one side or the other. I'm just looking at the facts of the situation. I think it's sick that they would try somebody in a new case under the RICO when it was just I stole a car and I crashed it 2 minutes after I stole it. That's what Christian Eppinger did. He did. He got caught. Remember when the black lady and her neighbor, she got her car took with her daughter, and then Christian Eppinger took it and drove it and crashed it as soon as he got out of the apartment complex. he crashed it immediately. They don't know who any of the other people were in the other car. Christian Eppinger never told him. He was a minor at the time. And somehow that's brought up as an overt act in this case. How's that possible? He was a minor. He never said anything about YSL in connection to that crime. Yet that's an overt act in this crime. This is a sick trial. Like, I don't even know how they go to sleep at night knowing that they try to do this to 28 black young men. Some of them might be criminals. Prosecute them for the crime that they committed. You don't need a RICO case for that. Let's look at what else I have here. All right, so let me see what I wrote here. Oh, okay, so I said another thing here. So remember when I said last week that that Detective Quinn was, he was doing the whole, who was Thug? What's his real name? What's his dad's name? Like, I don't know. You the first person to tell me about this. Well, this is, so I realized why Quinn was talking about that now. And it hit me as Bean was testifying, and they were playing a couple more tapes. It hit me that the reason that Detective Quinn was talking to him like that is because he knew Adrien Bean was lying. Adrien Bean is actually lying about Young Thug being involved. He was thinking if I throw it. So remember when we heard, remember when Adrien Bean was talking to the private investigator and Brian Steele outside the Kroger, and he said, oh, they must have put Thug's name in it because he was a big dog or a money man. And, they might have thought that was his thinking. He thought if I give them a big name like this, they'll let me out of this. That was him that did that. It was nobody else. So that's why Detective Quinn didn't take nothing Adrien Bean said serious. I think he knew the whole time Thug wasn't involved with this. You see what I'm saying? I know people said there was rumors and all that back in Atlanta at that time that Thug was involved in a police shooting. But I think that he knows that he wasn't there. That's why even Detective Quinn said, wait, you said how big was Fred Prothro sitting in the front seat? He was 6'8", and they know that the chair was pushed all the way, like the front passenger seat was extended all the way to the back, pretty much because he's huge. He's 6'8", and they said he was fat. So he's 6'8", 350, or they said 380, something crazy like that. He was humongous. So then you put a 6'8" dude in the front seat, he had to push all the chair all the way back. Then you put a 6'3" dude directly behind him. And you telling me that that's how they were sitting as they were driving around. And then he didn't get hit by the bullet that went through the back window, past Thug somehow, and into Fred Prothro's back. And he didn't get hit by anything else. So I think that's why Detective Quinn was talking the way he was talking. It's because he didn't believe, he knew that he was lying about that. And I also think that's why they didn't push these charges a long time ago. Because if they think they had a big fish like that was involved in an officer-involved shooting, they wouldn't have let it go this far. They would have arrested him a long time ago for this. And Thug was never even brought in for questioning for this at all. They never even went and asked him any questions. You know why? Because the only person that put him in it is Adrien Bean. Literally the only person. Nobody else put him in it. The police didn't see him there. When the police reported it and that whole thing, none of them said that he was there. None of them seen a picture of him later and said, that's the guy that ran away that we couldn't catch. You understand what I'm saying? So I think Adrien Bean, I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to disrespect you. You're a terrible liar. And I got to say it like that. That's the most respectful way. That's the most respectful way that I could say that. You're not a good liar. And every single time we heard you on any type of recording, you said something different. So you wasn't just lying to the police to try to get yourself out of trouble. You was lying to everybody. You was lying to your wife. You was lying to yourself. You was lying to the hospital. You was lying to everybody. It's like, what was you doing? Yeah, it's really like, what was you doing? And to King Wiz, I'm not saying that Young Thug wasn't affiliated with nothing, because clearly DK is his guy. But you got to put. We talking about a Nissan, what was it, Altima? That car is already kind of small. So you saying that you put a 6'8" dude in the front seat and you put a 6'3" dude directly behind him. So Adrien Bean was he was lying about everything. I'm gonna be real. We might could do a whole series on, or it would be a shorter video to find the things he didn't lie about than to find the things he did. He on the phone telling his wife, yeah, I came, but he took $22,000 from me. Red was trying to rob me. You told your wife that man took $22,000 from you? Like, come on, man. Come on. You might as well have like, stop. Come on, man. Like, he was just lying about like stuff that didn't even make sense. You see what I'm saying? So I understand now why Quinn was answering like that. So he knew who Young Thug was. He wasn't investigating him for this case, and he didn't start investigating him for this case because he knew Adrien Bean was lying.